Hey everybody, happy 2025 and welcome back to the first episode of the year of 10 Minute Marvel. Today we're going to be talking about the final season of What If, including ranking all the episodes, all 9 of them.
There's 9? I'm just kidding.
There's 8.
It'd be classic me though, right?
Yes, it would. Uh, as well as then a bunch of news and rumors since we didn't have an episode in the past week for between the holidays. Still, we got to get cracking because there's also a football game that both of us want to watch. And if we go that long, that's going to be slightly concerning anyways.
Right. I feel like maybe half my house will be gone because
Yeah.
we have young kids in the house right now,
Yeah.
unattended, doing God knows what.
Yes. So I'm Petter and co-hosting as always.
As always, thank you for joining us again. It's Greg, everybody. Happy to be here in the year 2027. And
Nice. Let's
yeah, looking forward
keep
to
that joke going.
yeah, why not? It's we're gonna make it one of those long running ones. It'll be fun. It's not gonna be funny this year, but come the next year after that, it's gonna be
Hilarious.
gold. Yeah. All right. Well, I should probably get my thing ready because I don't have that ready. Got it ready. God, I'm really starting the year off
Smooth.
really well here, aren't I? Okay. Here's some ways to support us here at 10 Minute Marvel, everybody. Be sure to find us on YouTube. You can search for 10 Minute Marvel there and find us, and that's where you can also smash that like button and subscribe button and follow us on Facebook. And I guess we're still on X or Twix or Twitter or
Yes.
whatever that crap is. And hashtag 10 Minute Marvel there. And of course, you can leave a rating review wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcasts from. Pew, pew, pew. That's my web slinging shooting
Yes.
pews.
Yep.
Figured it's on point for not only what's in the news, but what's coming up.
Yes. So let's kick it off with rumors, and there are a lot of them. I'm going to combine all these rumors for people who are going to potentially show up in Doomsday and Secret Wars and, well, possibly Spider-Man 4 and Secret Wars as well. But we have Elizabeth Olsen back playing the Scarlet Witch for Doomsday and potentially Secret Wars. Scarlett
Of course.
Johansson returning for Doomsday and Secret Wars.
Nice.
Beast Hank McCoy rumored to be in Doomsday and Secret Wars.
Which beast is it gonna? Well, so
I
I
would
wonder if it'll
assume
be the
the one
one
that
from
the
yeah,
Marvels, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And then the Taskmaster returning for Doomsday.
Cool. It's time out. Go back to Hank McCoy. Do you think that
Yeah.
they're going to keep that? Obviously, Kelsey Grammer voicing. So I'm thinking like they were for the Fantastic Four. I know they're like for the Thing. It's a lot of. It's almost physical. Like it. There's
Mhm.
obviously. Oh man, this, Evan
What's that?
Bach. Yeah, it's like
Evan
prosthetics
Moss.
almost.
Yeah,
Back
Evan
rack.
Moss Backrack. Yes.
There it is. Um, so there's actually a physical suit, but I wonder for Hank McCoy and if it's gonna be Kelsey Grammer, if they're gonna really do more CGI for him and then just voice, which I think I'm okay with.
hmm I would assume that we get the exact same thing that we got in the Marvels.
Hmm.
And with the Thing, my guess is when we see the trailer, which I'm hoping we'll get confirmation of at some point in time that it's going to be showing or released at the Super Bowl, around the Super Bowl. Uh, we're going to see that, yes, there's kind of that physical suit that he acted in, but it's still going to be mainly CGI in
Hmm.
terms of the look for that. But
Yeah.
that's besides the point.
Okay, go
And
back to
the
Taskmaster now.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Taskmaster for Doomsday, which flies in the face of the rumors that Taskmaster will die early on in Thunderbolts.
unless it's a different Taskmaster.
That's true. Well, no, the a different Taskmaster, but it'd be played by the same actress, according to the rumor.
Okay, well that's cool. But
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, that's kind of yeah. It's interesting because really you haven't seen a lot of her
hmm
in those clips or those trailers. So
Yeah.
hmm.
Is it that she's going to be a super important character? That's why, just why she's not there? Or is she going to maybe be a character who sides more with Val when the rest of them break away?
Yeah.
And that could be why they're trying to kind of hide that.
Hmm. Fair. I
Then
wonder
the
if she's
fu-
just hidden like she's really just comes out of the like you don't see her much in the movie for Thunderbolts, and then she like comes saves the day somehow at the end. Maybe it's one of
Could
those
be too.
scenarios. Well,
Yeah.
either way.
And then the final one, this one, we've had this rumor before for Spider-Man 4, but this is the first time for Doomsday, or not Doomsday, Secret Wars, but Null for Secret Wars and Spider-Man 4.
Interesting.
I
How do you how you feeling about that?
I don't love it, honestly, on either front that much. But I guess if you want to set him up as kind of like this big bad for Spider-Man in the future, sure, put him in Spider-Man 4. But he's such a powerful character that putting him in Secret Wars, what are you gonna do with
Right.
him?
I, I this one just doesn't seem like it's legit.
Yeah. So then we also have a rumor around quite a number of different show related Disney Plus stuff, which makes sense because we're getting towards the end of like confirmed shows. We have only Vision show that would be yet to film for 2026. And if their goal is three shows and two movies a year, then we need more shows filmed in 2025 for 2026 besides Vision. So let's talk, I guess probably Daredevil season 2. I would guess would film this year. So
Oh yeah.
I guess we just need one more show, but still potentially two. First off, a Punisher show being worked on. Thoughts on
Thank
that?
yes, please.
All right. I'm fine on that one.
I mean,
I feel like a show is probably the right spot to do it. Don't try and do a movie.
yeah, I agree. And I shouldn't say yes, please. I think I would be based on what Netflix did in the way
Hmm.
that if they're kind of continuing on, I really enjoyed that those what couple seasons they had. Two,
I forget
two,
what it was.
yeah. Or I guess he was meshed in with
Other
Daredevil
stuff.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wouldn't be my favorite and first choice, but I would definitely be in there to watch it.
Hmm.
I'd be ready to see that if they were going to do that.
Yeah. Next one is that we'd be getting a Champions show starting filming in 2026. So that one wouldn't be for next year, but year after. So Champions is kind of the other young hero team.
Yeah,
It it makes sense. I think it was probably always intended to be Champions, s- just with some of the characters they introduced, and it's just gonna be Champions and Young Avengers mashed up into one. So I like it as a show. I've talked about it before as to why I like it as a show. Gives them a chance to introduce characters that do real well on it, can graduate, move up, and you can kind of have a changing cast of that team over the years.
agreed. Yeah, I would be on board for that.
So then, rumored that Moon Knight season 2 has been greenlit. I think that's one that we've said, yeah, there's stuff to work with there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But
I also thought that would be a good animated show, but
mhm,
it feels like it needs to happen, or it doesn't
yeah,
need to happen, but it would be.
it's
I
set up
think
too.
yeah, it's set up. The characters, it's a good enough character to do so.
Hmm.
So interesting enough character.
Yeah. Then Nova has some more rumors around that one. Nova show is rumored to have Richard Rider leading a group of Novas against Annihilus. I think that makes sense for a spot to introduce Annihilus and the Annihilation Wave and have that be the big bad for that series. It Annihilus isn't a big enough villain, I don't think, for movies, but would be cool for shows.
It feels like he would be just based on his name. I mean, like just
Hmm.
Annihilist, Annihilation just seems like a pretty big. If you're looking at like in the Hickman run where Annihilus, right, he's
Yep.
coming in and he creates that portal which you can only access via the Baxter building. It seems like he's a pretty big threat to come through and take over the world, but
Hmm. I just don't know that they're going to introduce and spend that time with that character when you have a whole slew of X-Men villains that you probably want to get to first.
to me it seems like you would save Annihilus then, just
Yeah,
because you could make it a pretty big event.
hmm, you
But
could, but it would also tend to be more cosmic, and they might be like, okay, well, if we're going to do something that cosmic, sure, they could maybe bring in like some of the Guardians characters that they set up for the new Guardians team as
mhm.
well on it and go with it that way. And that makes sense to do as a show instead of trying to be like,
Dog.
oh yes, and here's Captain America in space.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Podcast dog.
So then Marvel is also, this one comes from Daniel RPK, rumored to have offered an A-list actor the role of Clint Barton's brother who would appear in Hawkeye season 2 and more. So
Is
who do you
Clint
think?
Barton's brother, is he another Hawkeye? But they
No.
wouldn't do that. So,
It is Barney Barton.
of course, Barney
He's,
Barton.
I mean, he's again another Archer-ish, but if I remember correctly, like he's on the Dark Avengers.
Hmm.
He's tends to be like he'd be a character who would have more like kind of be the evil version. So still bow and arrow and stuff like that, but
So he's got the same abilities, like he can
yeah.
hit a mark without even thinking
Right.
about it, kind of thing.
His character name is like Trick Shot.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it's okay, and I'm just gonna show my cards here on this one a little bit. I don't understand Hawkeye. Is his powers a power or just a really
ability.
impressive gift? Okay,
It's a gift. It's like Kate even kind of talks about it for her too. It's just it's something they've honed so much.
got it. Okay. Well, I guess I don't really know where else you would. I mean, sure, there's plenty of places you go with Hawkeye, but it's kind of a natural
Mhm.
step, right? I guess if you're trying
Yeah.
to do a different story with Hawkeye. So,
Well, and it falls in line kind of with Hawkeye season 1, where it's about his family and him wanting to like get home to his family for Christmas. Now it's like, okay, here's a piece of his family maybe showing back up and pretending to be Hawkeye, kind of ruining his reputation, and now he
hmm,
has to go deal with it and deal with family that way.
yeah, that's true. I wonder if they'll have Mockingbird do anything at this point either.
Yeah, I could see that being, I mean, since they teased it, a chance to kind of go for it.
Yeah.
Then finally on the rumor front, final show rumor, Marvel reportedly developing a Ghost Rider series. This one's from My Time to Shine. Hello. Feels decent, especially if they're going to do Midnight Suns and they want Ghost Rider in there.
True.
Sure. Why
Yeah.
not? Why not have Blade be the movie kind of launching point for Midnight Suns and then everybody else introduced in shows? Slash, yeah. I would assume Dane Whitman would show up in the movie too, potentially, but who knows?
Who? Just kidding. Um, yeah, again, if they're gonna do Midnight Sun, yeah, you should include him. Is it, are they still talking Nicolas Cage for that? Are they, is that
I mean, not for
not more for Secret
the
Wars, right? I
for
think we're
Secret
gonna,
Wars. I think there
yeah,
was a rumor.
okay.
hmm
Then, yeah, I'm okay with that. That's cool.
So then, we have four pieces of actual news. First being that Rosa Salazar's character for Brave New World has been confirmed to be Diamondback. So part
Yep.
of the Serpent Society, I believe that was who people guessed she was going to be playing.
Yep.
Um, but this one is just an interesting tidbit. I did a video on this where I suspect that it probably doesn't mean anything, but the Agatha All Along trailer was listed as a season one trailer, not as a limited series trailer.
Yeah. I saw this, I heard about it. It was funny, I was watching some new Rockstar stuff and they had talked about it as well and done a video, but it was the same thought came in Eric Voss's little video clip of what if it's just that person at Disney
It's
that I think you might even said this same thing in your video, right? It could have just been well, we got to call it something and here's our choices. So let's just give it a season one and that's that.
yeah, yeah, it's somebody setting metadata tags
Hmm.
basically
Right.
for it, and that's probably all it means.
And that, I mean, I would love to have a second season, so don't get me wrong there. But yeah, I'm just really just kind of not gonna fall into that one too much, I think.
hmm Yeah. Then
Even
in
though
my
it's news, it
mhm.
to me it seems it's a little bit. I mean, it's not a rumor. It's obviously news, but
It's just
it's
it's news that probably means nothing.
yeah, right.
And yeah, in my video, I was like, the whole point of the title Agatha all along is that the Witch's Road is just something that Agatha made up. The only reason it's real is because of Billy's powers. And so the whole point of the show is that The Witch's Road is just Agatha doing it like her con
Hmm.
all along. How are you going to continue to have that title make sense and make a show that is Agatha focused over, say, just a show that's Billy focused at this point? Agatha's a
Yeah.
ghost.
How
So,
many times is he gonna fall for it? Like,
mhm.
is he gonna fall for a second? Like, Agatha's got an underlying like uh
Like Agatha
strategy.
gets right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was gonna say
Agatha
they
gets her body back.
right all along. She can get her body back all along.
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna say, and we'll talk about this in the main topic, but in the What If
Hmm.
season three with her, it, she dupes
Hmm.
Kingo pretty much
Hmm.
in kind of the world, I guess, in this case. So it followed suit there, but I just for a second season, that's some clever writing if you can get it to pan out, which would be great. I think if they can come up with something where you string me along, like, okay, this is not she's
Hmm.
kind of changed her ways or whatever it is, and then she in the end dupes somebody again, including me. Great. That's awesome. That's good writing.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that's really where I'm at with it. Then Brad Winderbaum, this is the other video that I did this week, saying that Marvel is considering feature-length theatrical release animated film. And
hmm.
I was trying to come up with like, okay, what's a good idea for that? And one of the ideas I came up with apparently is rumored to now be part of the Nova show
Yes. Oh.
because Annihilus, I think, like the Annihilation Wave and everything could work well in animation.
Hmm. That's cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like an Eternals thing, but
Hmm. That's
um
true. Eternals thing could work too. Um,
but I do like the Annihilation Wave.
Also, my other idea was redo Secret Invasion, big
Yes.
screen.
That would be cool. I mean then you
Hmm.
could like, oh, that could be cool.
Hmm. Especially if they can, obviously it's a different studio, but if they could take some of what
Arcane?
so
Oh.
well, I mean, yes, please. But what Sony has done with Spider-Verse stuff
Hmm.
and kind of play around with the look and feel of the animation and like scrolls and I mean, you get into the Secret Invasion comic story like 3D Man and his ability to tell just stuff like that I think could be
Yeah.
fun.
I mean, it gets around the crazy expensive cost of having those shifting morphing faces,
Yes.
all that they can do. I mean, granted, you're still paying for the animation of that stuff, which can get, if you want it to look good or cool, it probably costs money for that animation to happen. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I wonder what's cheaper now that I think about it to make
Well,
an,
I would think animation compared to, I mean, what we saw with
I guess,
in Secret Invasion with the
like they
Super
couldn't do it
Scroll.
very often, right? Like they
Right.
had they had to usually
They
hide
saved
it
it
some way.
once,
Yeah.
and even then it was just kind of a mess with how they
Yeah.
did it. So I think it'd be cheaper to do it, but
Hmm.
and it would look better.
Right. I think that, yeah, the Annihilation Wave, I mean, it's big, right? There's lots
Mhm.
of, it's a war,
Yes.
right? Probably, right? So you can numerate what you need for a mass scale army.
Yes.
And,
Billions of bugs.
right. And then in the Secret Invasion side, you can do those morphing things. And yeah, so those are two good options.
Hmm. And then the final piece of news, we got our first trailer for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Look good.
That looked real fun.
Yeah.
And it was pointed out, I missed it in the trailer, but we saw, well, I spotted Nico Moreau. Um,
Oh,
she's the goth, like purple hair teen. But Wave is one of the characters we see as well in there. So we're seeing, like, they're putting in a bunch of characters into this, which is kind of fun. Like, the
I'm,
cast is going to be big.
yeah. Who's Wave?
Wave is not a comic book character that I'm super familiar with, but she is a Filipino hero.
Talking like water powers here?
I believe so.
Okay.
Let me pop down. So yeah, she I think generally is. Um, Agents of Atlantis is one of the group, or Atlas, excuse me. Agents of Atlas is one of the groups that she has been with, and that generally is going to be a more Asian-led group, I believe, that has
Okay.
had a number of different characters. But
Amadeus Cho? No?
I don't remember for sure. But like Namora was on there as well.
Okay.
Shang-Chi has been on there. But yeah, a number of different ones. So
Cool.
so that could be fun. Well, it's going to be fun to see what that show looks like and yeah,
Yeah,
see how it goes.
it had a good vibe to it. I felt like it was
Mhm.
some good comedic hits,
Yes.
in the trailer, and it's kind of about what I was expecting it to be. And I like the look, as we've kind of talked
Yes.
about the drawing style or art style there,
Yep.
kind of like Archie's comic vibe. So it'll be good.
Mhm.
I think we might have ranked it kind of low in
Yeah.
our
It was
in
second to the bottom for both of us in animated because we put zombies as
right.
our lowest ranked. But everything I see about this, I'm just like, yeah, that looks fun.
Yeah.
That looks
And
fun.
I think it was safe to say when we did rank it lower down, obviously it's like, even though it's down there, we're still probably going to
Mhm.
really like it. It's just,
Yes. Oh yeah.
you got to rank it
Everything,
somehow.
yeah, everything we rank, it's very rare we rank something and go like, I just really don't like that.
Yeah.
Secret
Yeah.
Invasion being like the
True.
notable exception.
Yeah. I think I was very generous to Secret Invasion there for most of the times we talked about it. And
Mhm.
then afterwards, it just sourness in our mouths.
Yeah. The issue was not to talk about Secret Invasion, but I'm going to momentarily, is there were some really good scenes.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing just didn't come together well because
Yeah.
of filming restrictions, uh, CGI stuff that wasn't as good as it could have been, and having to remove a major chunk of the story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but this is not here to talk about Secret Invasion. I'm sure we will again at some point in time. We're going to be talking about What If, and we're going to be ranking the episodes. And I, it's all out now. I'm going to say we'll give super fast, like non-spoiler thoughts to it, but it's mainly going to be spoilers here. If you haven't watched it already, and this is my non-spoiler thoughts. I think it is worth watching. There's some really good episodes in there. I have some issues with it as well, but it still provided what I wanted, which is just a lot of different kind of goofy and very different, unique what if kind of scenarios.
Yeah. Um, I think that
Greg thought it was garbage.
I wish I would have never watched it. It was such horse pooey. No, actually, I agree with you. Some of the stories I thought, so I've watched them twice. I watched them the first time when they first came out, and I think due to the holiday time, I was super tired, and some of them I like may have slept through part of them, but only because I was super tired. So, anyways, I watched them again just in the last
Mhm.
48 hours, and I thought story-wise, there's some really like fun, solid stories in them, crammed into half an hour. So they were
Yeah.
cool. Lots of fun character references in there. Um, I think, but like you, I feel like it just missed for me the mark on what if really kind of was about or for.
I thought,
In a sense, like there were some parts
mhm.
where I was like, oh yeah, that's very much what if, but I was kind of at the same time, it felt like it wasn't what if.
I'm gonna disagree. I think that it was what if, and it's kind of what I wanted what if to be, which is very disconnected things. And then it, we'll talk about it more with
Yeah.
how it landed. But now we're into spoilers, 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 spoilers. You have been warned, spoilers. And we're gonna talk about the episodes just in the order that we rank them, instead of the series as a whole, because like we were saying, it is fairly one-off for a lot of them. But Greg, what is your lowest ranked one? Your number eight.
My number eight, gonna mark this down right now. My number eight is actually what if? It's the
Same.
number eight episode. Really? Okay, all
Yep.
right, all right.
It just
Um,
didn't land.
yeah. It felt like it was trying to do something that it shouldn't have. Like it feels like it ventured into a territory that
It
you
was
don't
trying.
venture into. You don't
Mhm.
go into the fifth dimension stuff because
It's too
it,
hard to explain. It's too
it
hard to land.
it just seems like you just leave the fifth dimension alone. You let Uatu, I don't know, like
Hmm.
I don't know. So and like the fight scene, they were
So
kind of
much
fun, but
fighting.
there was like way
So
too
much.
much. It was like power matched. Like nobody was gonna win. It was like gonna go on
Hmm.
forever, right? And I'm like, I don't know. I just to
Yeah.
have Peggy Carter like and her team like become watchers.
Mhm.
I don't know.
It's like that's fine.
Right, because it's what
But
if, right? But at the same
right.
time, you're in a dimension that is really not meant to be played in to me.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that was my number eight.
Yep. Same for me. Really, a lot of the same stuff that you said. They were tr they were trying to be philosophical about it, and then it just ended up being a lot of people punching each other.
Yeah. Like,
And that wasn't that interesting. I thought, yeah, it's cool to see like Birdie, Storm, Corty, Peggy all use their Watcher, like their bumped up powers.
right.
But it should have just come to quickly a situation where it's just purely a draw. And like everybody gets knocked out except Watu and his mentor, the person who made him. And we have this not really ship of Theseus, but that kind of feel
Yeah.
moment to it
Yeah,
where the combat is mental and it's about Watu getting the other Watcher to kind of change his mind.
a deep philosophical Nietzsche stuff that they reached for just wasn't. I can't say it's Nietzsche. I don't really know. I
Yeah.
haven't studied Nietzsche, but I'll just use that as a general
Yeah.
philosophical term that people may recognize. It just, yeah, it didn't quite land. Like it was too forced. So,
Too
um,
forced and just not that executed. It was, they did like 25% of it,
mhm.
and then the rest of it was just people punching each other.
Yeah. Now, one of the highlights I'll say of that episode was the mention of Uatu saving Madison. Because
Yes, that was hilarious.
that was pretty good. I mean, and he's like, like, so I liked how there's nothing, nobody can even take that anywhere. It's not going to be a thing that they're going to, do something with. It's just,
It's a line.
it's just a line and it's a
Mhm.
throwaway and it was funny. And so,
Yes.
yeah.
What was your number seven?
Episode 7. Watcher disappears.
Uh, Not the same for me.
Okay, interesting. So, I had some notes on it. I thought Birdie, okay, she's cool. I like her kind of rock and roll metal, vibe that she's got.
Hmm.
It's the spoiler of it's Howard the Duck and Darcy together, right?
Yeah.
It's what they've created, and I don't quite understand her power because in a different episode she's got this crazy ass power of just like melting people or something. I don't know. So I don't know. She's super smart. I'm like, what level of smart is she? I was a little confused on her, but it doesn't really matter in the end. Um, I thought Infinity Ultron, it was kind of reaching again in this case
Mhm.
for me, where, oh, I killed everybody. Now I'm sitting here for eons, and I'm kind of like, he's thinking that was probably the wrong move, right? Like I
Hmm.
shouldn't have killed everybody. And so now he's like, I feel bad about that. And I can't ever do anything to help remedy that, but I'll try and help you now kill these or
Yeah.
help save your friend, a watcher, right? And it was just like, I don't know, really? Like it again, it's what if, I'm trying to just keep that in perspective, but I just was like, really? Like that's he could have thought of that. Like he's a synthezoid. I feel like he would have thought past and thought about that scenario. Maybe I'm trying to take it to a different place than it needs to go, but not
Yeah.
my favorite episode. Second, obviously, on the from the bottom. And still
Yeah.
had fun with it in a way. It was interesting. It was fun. I really
Hmm.
liked when they destroyed the big tentacled monster at the beginning
Yeah.
in Xandar. I thought that was fun. That was cool use
Hmm.
of powers.
Hmm. And it was a nice callback to, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be the same tentacle monster from the first episode
Is that
of What If.
Shumagorath? No, it's not a
No, it's not,
Shumagorath.
they never specify.
Yeah.
but it felt like it was supposed to be the same one, which I was like, oh, cool, nice
Yeah.
throwback.
Yeah. Yeah.
My number seven is going to be What If the Hulk Fought the Mech Avengers?
Hmm. Okay.
That one, it's a fine episode. I don't think they did as much as they could have done with kind of this Voltron, these mechs, all of that stuff. It had one of my favorite openings with like that Avengers cartoon
Yeah.
show was that was phenomenal. But then the rest of it was just like this is just fine. And it had honestly it could flip-flop pretty easily with my number six. Um, but because of the fact that I had like high expectations with this one, I was like, okay, cool. We're gonna get some like lean into this anime type-esque thing. It's like, okay, sure, there's nods to that. There's nods to Godzilla, basically. Uh, it's like it's just fine.
Yeah. Hmm. I, yes, I understand all of that.
Yeah.
I don't, it is, I had a hard time placing this one. I
Hmm.
thought the story it had, it seemed very what if, because I think what I'm
Hmm.
talking about, what I'm expecting from what if is like there's slight variations that
Yeah.
happen and right instead of kind of some of these really large variations that we were
Hmm.
seeing. And so I liked it in that sense where instead of it's Sam and Bruce Banner, right? Instead of Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson. That kind of they did that running scene, on your left stuff.
Hmm.
So there's a slight variation there. Yeah, I thought, and then it took it to a different place, which was cool. I thought the mech thing was kind of fun, but um, I also just I felt like it was a pretty good fun story, and it stayed
Yeah.
within the what if
Yes.
realm that I'm looking, or maybe
Hmm.
I'm just used to. So
Yeah, no,
compared to the first and second season,
yes, I do like the fact that it does truly feel like a what if. They were
yeah.
like, hey, what if mechs?
Yeah. Now, to go with that same like recipe of like it's just slight changes of people who are shifting this person in and this person out, I could understand how that would kind of get a little bit repetitive. So I guess going outside of that and making a very drastic changes in
Hmm.
the stories, like some of the other ones
I've,
did,
yeah, I mean,
it
this
makes
is
sense.
still very drastic too,
True. Yeah, yeah.
but it's just, yeah. What's your
Um,
number six?
My number six was actually the Agatha episode. When she
Okay.
goes to Agatha goes to Hollywood or whatever it's called.
Hmm.
Um, I it was let's see, what are my notes on this one? Um, I thought like the spectacle of it, the dancing, the
Hmm.
song, the all that stuff was really fun and cool. I thought Stark was probably the show stealer in
Hmm.
what we were seeing wise. His character was great. I really kind of wanted at the end instead of Kingo convincing Agatha to be an actor. I did like
Hmm.
that kind of speech of how acting and creating movies is it helps humanity in a way. I kind of like that message. Um, but I kind of wanted Agatha to be like, nah, and just like do her own thing. And she just destroys the world or whatever she does. She doesn't, join with Kingo in the end. I thought that'd have been awesome and very much
Hmm.
like what Agatha would do, a
Hmm.
selfish move. So, anyways, it was still just kind of an okay episode, for me. Didn't
Hmm.
really kind of go either way on it. I was like,
Hmm.
this is good. It's all right.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, my number six was What If the Watcher Disappeared? It's barely higher. It's a lot of what you said. I I enjoyed Birdie a lot as a character and kind of
Mhm.
her ability to knock back people and kind of blast at people. It's basically just an energy beam that she was shooting, even as a baby. So it's like, okay, that's fun. That's a cute power, cute idea for the character, then give her something more to work with, which was like, okay, she's smart, a little bit loopy,
Mhm.
but yeah, I heard saw like a comparison of like, oh great, they just made her Harley Quinn. I'm like, no, no, Harley Quinn is not the same character
Yeah, I
there.
don't I don't see that really much
Yeah,
at
I don't
all.
didn't get that one either. I didn't respond to the person who is one of the people who I enjoy like takes on stuff. But I
Yeah.
was like, I'm not going to jump in and be like, I disagree. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a
Yeah.
conversation
I'd be
online.
I'd be curious to see kind of where they're coming from on that, but
hmm But it was just honestly the biggest thing was like, okay, Storm, very cool, but this is clearly the episode. Like in the first season, we had the Gamora episode that got bumped to season two, and then I believe the Red Guardian episode got bumped to season three because the Gamora episode got bumped. So Storm, Thor, yeah, Storm, God of Thunder, Goddess of Thunder was clearly a story that was meant to be told because we were just kind of dropped in with this character showing up. And as cool as the character is, I want to know the character before they just randomly show up. So, yeah, it felt a little bit like it's fine. And then the Ultron stuff, I was fine with it. I like the idea of Ultron coming to a realization. Probably took him thousands of years to do so,
I mean,
but
he was kind of just sitting there sleeping.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, so it it was a fine episode, but like it's really close between that and the Hulk fought the Mech Avengers. I think I just had more of a vision of what I thought the Mech Avenger one was going to be. So, yeah. And so, Greg, what about your number five then?
number five, this is where the Mac Voltron
hmm
episode came in for me. Yeah, it was fine. It was
hmm
interesting. I didn't mind it. It was just a good random story for me. So
hmm It was good, it just wasn't standout.
yeah, yeah, I kind of yeah, uh, yeah, that's exactly it. It was just kind of meh. I was kind of expecting more, but maybe
Mhm.
not because we got what we wanted with the mech stuff, right?
Kind of, but that was pretty fast too.
It was. It didn't really do much. It didn't even
hmm
stand a chance against
hmm
the Prime whatever Hulk
Yeah.
thing,
Yep.
whatever it was. So that was my number five. I don't got much else to say about that one because it is just what it is.
Mhm.
So
My number five is what if the Red Guardian stopped the Winter Soldier? That had some
okay.
fun moments in it. I liked the Giant Man stuff. It definitely played kind of the best for comedy for sure as well. And I like the idea of like, okay, this mole character that they're putting it all in is just or like trusting to help them is just Obadiah Stane, who's trying to take out Stark to get his company.
Yeah.
That's it.
Uh,
But
I'm gonna say
yeah,
right now we're on number four, right? That's was that what
that was
your
my five.
that's your five? Okay.
Yeah, is that your four?
It is my four, so we'll just
Yeah.
mesh these kind of together. Um, it was probably one of it was probably the funniest one I think out of
hmm
all
For
eight,
sure.
and it was really the Red Guardian that made this one probably push up further in my list.
Yeah.
Because it was just kind of a wacky, you know,
hmm
story in itself, not too serious, and except for the ending, I guess Bucky goes and gets his head wiped again, so that's kind of sad. But
Kind of sad,
there's
but Bob Toledo uh,
yeah,
gets to live and become a part of Shield.
it was uh I think that the little adventure they went on, the fact that the Red Guardian was hilarious through most of it, he's all about the working man and his stuff
hmm
with Russia, but then, finds the appreciation for non-capitalist parts of the US. I don't know, whatever.
Yes.
It was funny. So it just really grabbed the number four spot for me just
hmm
purely out of humor. So
Yeah, for me, number four was what if Agatha went to Hollywood? So that means our top three are the same, but will they be in the same order? Who knows? Uh, I really enjoyed What If Agatha Went to Hollywood, though. It had such visual spectacle to it that felt very fitting for the time period it was set. And just that idea of like old Hollywood, um, Agatha trying to get her powers a different way and getting all that power at once and almost in some ways becoming a like a god in some ways.
yeah,
Uh Having people like just in awe of her and kind of worship her for the amazing spectacle and display that was the third act of this film, which was hilarious that the whole thing still gets turned into a film.
Yeah,
Like, how do you explain it all? I don't know.
and, Hollywood.
And yeah, but just the Hollywood Bollywood mashup
Hmm.
too, with like the dance numbers, Kingo was great to have in there. So I really had fun with it and definitely, yeah, enjoyed it just as a what I want from What If. That true, like, what if just something random happened differently? How would that change everything?
Yeah. It was, yeah, uh, definitely some great parts in it. But again, for me, it fell lower. I don't know. It
Yeah.
was, what do we got? We're
You're
on
number three.
my number three. Okay. So I've been kind of doing these a little bit on the fly,
Hmm.
and I'm feeling pretty solid about this number three. It's the Shang-Chi, the Wild West, what if
1870.
1872?
Yes.
And I thought, okay, it's cool. You got the hood in there. I like
Hmm.
the vibe was cool in the West, the old West.
Yep.
And Kate Bishop was good. I just think it was just a unique,
John Walker.
yeah, you got Johnny Mayonnaise in there, which was kind of
Yes.
fun.
Yep, that was great.
And then well, I thought some of the other interesting parts. Let's see, where's my notes? You had Sonny Birch in there,
Hmm.
who is an actual Marvel character, right?
Yes.
And he's kind of government slash almost like a traitor in a sense, I believe. Um, but he had that watch to hypnotize
Yeah.
people, which he said he got from Russia. So I was like, I wonder if that was part of like the super soldier thing, or if that was part of like the Red Room, or where like it just like, or
That
it's just
feels
some
like
tech
Red
that he
Room.
got. Yeah, it kind of felt like that, right? Like the smell
Hmm.
thing they had
Hmm.
in the movie, the Black
Black
Widow
Widow.
movie.
Yeah.
Um, I was trying to figure out the reference there, but yeah, I guess he's kind of tied in with Obadiah Stane in a way as well. So I thought it was kind of cool to have his character in there. And what else did I have? Oh yeah, he worked for Cross Technologies, something. I don't know.
Darren
Um,
Cross, I'm assuming.
who is it?
Darren
Oh,
Cross.
Darren Cross. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't even think about that. There you go. Nice connection.
Hmm.
Um, I I like the I guess this twist at the end was Shang-Chi's sister,
Hmm.
right? Which I kind of
I called
sniffed
that
out.
super early.
I thought about it, right? I was like, maybe they might do that. So, and sorry, can you hear the chaos in my background?
No, not really.
Okay, good. Um, oh, but I was like thinking, man, she kind of took Shang-Chi to town. Like she just like whooped him
Hmm.
kind of in the end. So I'm like, is she actually better than Shang-Chi? Maybe.
That's
Arguable, I guess.
arguable. And
Yeah.
the big thing is he's fighting, she's fighting for a different reason than him,
Right,
which,
but it's skewed because of the hood, right? The
hmm,
hood is what's kind of turning that, I think, that fight that she's trying to fight in a darker, negative way.
hmm.
Because I think
And well,
that
and
would,
her character is still that in the Shang-Chi
yeah, that's
and
true.
as well. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, it
Uh,
kind of mesh, right, with
mhm,
what we kind of know currently of her.
yeah. So for me, my number three was What If Howard the Duck Got Hitched? That one I was just like, that went in a completely different direction. I'm like getting Fifth Element vibes to it with the whole cruise. That whole like, oh yes, we're gonna eat the egg thing is just like that's such a classic, I don't know, feels like a
Yeah.
trope at this point. It's completely random, but it's like, oh yes, we're inviting you on this so we can eat you. And they kept on hinting at like as Howard's translating everything. It's like, oh, they're gonna, oh no, wait, we're guests of honor. Oh, they're gonna eat us. Oh no, we're guests of honor. Oh, they're gonna eat the egg.
Yeah, it was weird because that was what the Grand Master was wanting to do, which is
Yeah.
weird in itself, but everybody else was
If,
trying to
if,
get these powers,
yep.
right? It was like
It fits
one thing after
perfectly for
another.
the Grandmaster. It fits perfectly for like everybody. And it was such a fun cast. Loki with setting up the resort
Oh yeah, right?
in Jotunheim. Um,
There was a lot of characters
Phenomenal.
in
Yeah.
that show.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I really liked kind of just that, oh yeah, we're we just want to start a family at this point. And what was their song? Why am I blanking on it?
Oh,
I was made for loving you, baby.
yeah.
You were made for loving
And
me.
and that's how they got the baby to sleep, basically.
Yes.
But I don't know who sings that song, sadly. I didn't even look that up. I should have. Yeah, pretty solid episode.
Kiss.
Oh, that's who it
Yeah,
was. That's
I
right. They
was like,
mentioned
I
that.
know that.
I hate Kiss, but that's a fun song to put in the show.
Kiss is
There you go.
great. Greg is
Kiss
wrong.
is Kiss is
So if you want to be
terrible.
a co-host, please let me know.
I have now been just
Your
booted.
your
My
take
Kiss
on
comment
Kiss.
puts you over the edge.
Yeah.
Sorry. Man,
Yeah. So that was my number
everybody,
three.
we know Better's trigger at this point.
Your number two.
My number two was the Ironheart
Okay.
episode. I don't remember what they called that one.
What if the emergence destroyed the Earth? Also my number two.
There you go.
I yeah.
Yeah, I thought like they had Mysterio in there, and they had the
Hmm.
the White Vision,
Hmm. Oh, the
who was
Mysterio.
creepy. I
Yeah.
thought,
Both of them were so good.
yeah, it was really cool what they did with those.
Hmm.
How Vision was just kind of like when he was going to kill people on that ship, he's just
Hmm.
just phasing through the floors and coming up and
Yeah.
just kicking ass basically when he
Yeah.
needed to. And um, so that was my number five, I think.
Two.
Oh, sorry, my number two. Um, there was something. Did you hear the reference to Reed? Like there's
Yes,
the
I vaguely remember.
Reed says variable. Like, or I
Yeah.
guess what's the molecular density is what the question was.
Yeah.
And then I
Reed
think
says variable.
yeah. So I was like, oh, where's Reed? Like they
Hmm.
just dropped a little Reed in there, and
Yep.
that's
Well,
all we
I
get.
loved, like, this is why I was so disappointed with Riri in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, is she got a really fun, like, sad character arc here of, like, she she only has one thing, and that's just to keep fighting, to keep fighting, to keep fighting. And then when all of that is like taken away at the end and just having that moment of giving up, it was like, man, they gave that character for a short episode a lot of depth and fun use of the powers, like fun, just kind of this rage and fight behind her. And to have Mysterio break that, I thought was, yeah,
Hmm.
it was just really well done. And that's what I wanted to see, like character depth and development for that character. So that makes me excited to see how they can do character depth and development for Ironheart
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. It's almost like a story arc that would have like, oh, that'd have been really fun to see like in MCU. Like if that,
Yes.
which is totally far-fetched and doesn't fit in really at all.
Yeah.
Like, but it was well done. I thought
Hmm.
it was so in I honestly really, as I said, I'm trying to figure this out like on the fly, right?
Hmm.
And it was that one and shifting it in and out of number one spot. Yeah, it
Hmm.
was kind of tough. And so
Yeah. And
um
I like the fact that it was the lady from uh so like one of the people
oh,
who was
tell from
hello.
yeah, right? It was
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
So I
was like
thought,
that wasn't obvious at first until I caught the name and I was like, wait, I've heard that before. Let's look this up. And I had to look it up because but it's there's this nice deep what if cut
mhm,
to be like, hey, we can bring this character back in that we'll probably never see again in the MCU, but
yeah.
a chance
And
to bring him back.
I'm assuming it was voiced by it was the same
I'm not
character.
sure if it was voiced by the same person or not. Some of them they do change up who voices them,
Yeah, I'd say
but
the Shang-Chi one, that one actually had pretty much
both.
every
Yeah.
all major characters in that was voiced by the actual MCU
Yes. Yep.
actors. So that leaves me to my number one, right?
Yes. You're number
So
one.
of course, what's left over is the Darcy and the Howard the Duck episode. Um, I really, again, I couldn't decide, and I just felt like there was so much that happened in the Darcy and the Howard the Duck episode. It was such a fun ride. I thought
Hmm.
that it was pretty fantastical in a sense, like kind of going against what I've said before, how it like I kind of wanted some things felt way too out of the what if realm.
Hmm.
This obviously feels a little bit. out of the what if realm, and it actually, oddly enough, seemed in the same vein as the Thor party
Oh, it's
one,
the same
right? And
world.
it's well,
I'm
it's the same world, right? And I
Yeah,
actually putting this at number one. I think I put that one at like my very bottom when we ranked those. But this one just seemed like because I there was like let's go through some like the lists of people that were in there. Like I saw
Grandmaster Yondu.
Grandmaster Michael Rooker was back, right? As
Hmm.
Yondu.
Hmm.
Um,
Fury
and
Coulson.
Colson, that was the big. I was like, they brought Colson back.
Hmm.
Um, Dormammu was in there. Like the Dark Elves, like obviously Birdie's origin story, which was kind of cool. Um, and so like it was just such a fun.
Such a fun
He,
one.
yeah, it was just fun, and I think I was thinking, what one would I want to probably watch again? And I think
Hmm.
that's how I kind of chose my number one spot. As cool as I thought the Ironheart one was, I guess this one in this moment in time for me, ask me again tomorrow, it might change. But yeah, that's my number one.
Yep.
So,
And my number one, What If 1872? I
mm,
loved that episode. I loved the idea like, okay, if you shoot the church bell 10 times, he'll show up.
yeah, the
And it's
12
like this,
rings or the 10
or
rings,
10
sorry,
rings.
the 10
Yes.
rings.
Yeah, I was like, okay, clever. I like the fact it's John Walker in there leading this group of mercenary outlaws.
hmm The hat
Yeah.
thrown up in the air. He does all of his
Yeah.
things before he catches the hat. It was
Yes,
cool. Yeah.
it was cool. I like this um mystery train. I thought
hmm
I'm like, okay, that's real cool, and kind of
Right.
the repulsor type technology that's keeping it hovering. So it's like this weird west type of setting that works
Yeah.
so well.
It's
And
like
then
that Will Smith West movie. What
yeah,
was
Wild
that
Wild
movie?
West.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the kid. I thought the kid was fun,
Oh, yeah.
and I liked so that the name of the kid is actually one of the previous Iron Fists.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, and so it's and just like the bad guys get the upper hand on everything, and then it's the ringing of that bell breaks everything out, and then to have Kate Bishop shoot Shang-Chi's sister. Like I said, I called that the second it was like, oh, and she disappeared.
hmm
And so I'm like, okay, there's no way you don't do that twist.
Yeah.
But I loved it. That
I,
twist, the aesthetic of all of that.
I love that Kate Bishop took her out. I
Hmm.
was like, oh,
Yeah,
it wasn't that ending of like, oh, they convinced her to do good. No,
right.
I mean, I, it's not always how I feel about things, but I think it was a direction that I didn't expect Marvel to take. And so I thought it
Hmm.
was, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry
Yeah,
about that. I just shot your sister, and he's like,
mm,
it's okay. Which,
it's
but I thought that was cool. I thought that was
hmm
cool that they did it kind of in a more realistic way.
hmm yeah. So there we have it. I think both of us, obviously based off our rankings, were disappointed with how it ended. Um, and honestly, it's one of those. I wonder how much higher up both of us would have. What if the Watcher disappeared? If what if had really stuck the landing?
Yeah. Well, I
Because
mean,
it's hard to separate the two.
yeah. Well, what would it have done? Like, I don't know what
Hmm.
direction you take that story.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess there's other ones. I'm just not thinking of what they would be right now. So it almost got to an area where I'm like, I don't know what you do with that. Like,
It's
you've
so
kind of painted,
crazy.
you're not
Yeah.
painting yourself into a corner, but you're painting yourself into something that is so, yeah, like you're gonna say crazy, like a
Mhm.
fifth dimensional area space. I don't know. I don't know. There's just too much to that.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. But overall, 3 seasons of What If. I'm pleased. I really enjoyed the show. And if they want to bring back What If in the future, they certainly can. And I think in the future, like they kind of needed to wrap up some of okay, the Watcher, like, it keeps on messing with stuff. We have to talk about that.
Yeah.
But now, if they ever decide to bring it back, they can just be like, and here's a bunch of, it's just an anthology show.
hmm
Here's a bunch of different what ifs based off of, like, you say 3 years from now, you do What If X-Men. And you just do a
Yeah.
whole bunch of X-Men stories.
Yeah. Come back and just give it a break. give it some rest, and then come back and do something again with some other characters.
Yeah. So, out
Good
of
stuff.
the 3 seasons, how would you rank the 3 of them? This is very much on
Ooh.
the spot.
Yeah, it is on the spot. Oh man. I'm trying to pull back this remember what I
Mhm.
felt like for
Season 1 in particular.
yeah. Um I don't know which I like. There's some pretty like I felt like these stories in the third
Mhm.
were were good, interesting, fun. I don't know, man. That's a really tough question to put on the spot. I
Yeah,
don't know if I
maybe
can
we'll
answer
come back
that.
to that. But
I am not
or
going to
maybe we'll
rewatch the
do
first 2 seasons.
yeah, maybe we'll do videos on that after we refresh ourselves. To
Yeah,
kind of look. I think if we look at the titles, it will help a lot
that would.
to
I should have
remember
done that. Yeah.
which one goes with which. So look, I'll plan on doing a video of that this week as well as a separate video, or well, a video of my ranking of the 8 that will probably then at the end have the ranking of the 3 seasons and just kind of recapping that. So you can look for that on the YouTube channel and let us know what your favorite episode from season 3 of What If was. I'll put up a poll over on YouTube, youtube.com/10 Min Marvel or 10 Minute Marvel. Just search for 10 Minute Marvel. It'll be on the community tab there, so you can vote for what you think is the best out of all of them. And with that, we do appreciate everybody who has checked out the podcast, continues to listen. Greg gave a few ways you can help support us at the beginning. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/nerdologists. The funds go to help improve the quality of this podcast, as well as the Molten Meeples YouTube channel, 10 Minute Marvel YouTube channel, and nerdologist.com website. But with that, we'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody.